Good evening and thanks for everyone joining us tonight. This is the Planning Committee meeting from Town Council. I'm Steve Tanner. I'll be chairing this evening's meeting. We make our meetings available to as many people as possible, regardless of where they are, so we use a hybrid setup of here at the Town Hall in person and online via Zoom. Usual housekeeping: the emergency exit is to the rear corner of the room and the assembly points in the car park. Toilets can be accessed at the end of the corridor on the right hand side, and there is an accessible toilet to the right of the lift. Any panelists on Zoom, please use the electronic raise hand by clicking on the participants button at the bottom of your screen. Any attendees in the room, please raise your hand. Any attendees on Zoom, please pose questions through the Q&A board. Attendees' names will become visible on the questions board for the record as your question is answered. Those attendees in the room, please raise your hand. Tonight, Owen's going to clerk, Jane will manage the questions board and participant settings, and the meeting will be recorded for minuting purposes. We also live stream to our YouTube channel. Great. Item number 1 on the agenda. Any questions, comments, information from anyone? Public, councillors? No? Great. Move strictly on. Item number 2. Agree apologies of absence received. We've got...
Apologies from Andy, Polly and Fiona. Not Andy, Philip. Sorry, Philip. Andy is here. Right. Just to confirm, yeah.
Philip, Polly, Fiona.
And that's unanimous.
Great. Thank you. Item number 3, any declarations of members' interests? No. Good. Item number 4, to agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of November. There's no questions. If someone could propose that. Thanks, Andy.
And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Item number 5, a planning update from Owen.
Yep, thanks, Steve. So in this period since the last planning meeting, that's between 13th of November and 4th of December, we've had 8 decisions issued by Somerset, all of which were in line with our responses following committee. This period we've had 22 applications in Frome and 8 that we've highlighted for discussion at this meeting. The decisions that have come through from Somerset in the last 3 weeks include 62 Locks Hill, approval of felling trees. What else we got? Irongate, King Street, the pollarding of the tree in the courtyard, yeah, that was approved. Oh, sorry. And Shepherd's Barton, 10 Shepherd's Barton, listed building consent to replace window jambs. That was approved in line with our comments. The next one's the same there. 66 Nunney Road, replacement of aluminium and timber windows with UPV sliding sash. We had no objection and that was approved. And finally, Tankies Close, yeah, which was the first floor rear extension, also approved. So. There was further up there. We objected to removal of trees at the nursing home at Riverview, and that was refused. Yeah, so just Great. Some highlights there if anyone wants to pick up on those.
Excellent. Thank you. Great, I don't think we need to vote on that, it's just an update, wasn't it? So, item number 6, consider the major plan applications received. Who's Owen? Is that over to you? Yeah. Yep, great.
Do you want to do...
Yes, we'll do...
should we skip ahead to...
Yeah, seeing as Andrew's here, I'm sure he doesn't want to...
Let's do that.
Sit through.
Okay. So what we've got here is, I can't see it because all this is here. Hold on a second. This is restoration and adaptation of a group of heritage buildings on King Street. It's King Street, isn't it? It's in the Church Street, sorry. Yeah. These are grade 2 listed, incorporating an 18th century mill, which is of archaeological and architectural interest and retains evidence of the use by the cloth industry in Frome. The proposal is a mixed use, a hotel, deli cafe, wine bar, event space,
So Andrew's with us. Thank you for joining. Has everyone got a copy of this or has seen Andrew's presentation? Do you want to just run us through this, Andrew? That make sense?
Okay. So the opportunity that we have, a sort of a rare opportunity really to create a sort of unified new hub of for the community of hospitality, wellness and workspace and learning combined together. Initially, this whole project has evolved through the ability to acquire and then adjoin 3 properties which have been adjoining each other, 2A, 2B, 3 and 7, which initially I was interested in the original property 2A, 2B that had a number of flats in it and commercial ground floor, and it wasn't really until and I remember during the visit with the agent, I said to them, well, who owns the other half of that car park at the back? And they went, oh, the fish and chip shop, which was number 7. And that then came up in auction 2 weeks later. And I thought that was a really rare opportunity to perhaps be able to do something of scale if we had ability to control that back area of the courtyard. With that in mind, I then had the opportunity to then negotiate with number 3 Church Street, which at the time they had no official legal use of the back of that terrace at the back anyway. But it was obviously a natural thing to try and do in order to try and bring it together. And obviously being workspace as a sort of an opportunity and being a previous office use for the last 25 years. So this whole project has really been sort of driven by an awareness of Frome is one of these market towns that has definitely experienced a big inward migration recent years, I'd say thankfully compared to many other market towns, and that brings with it many of the people who have moved to Frome and existing in Frome. I think the stats say now that 30% of the workforce is remote, but 30% of that workforce are socially disengaged, they're isolated. So really the opportunity has come about to create what they call nowadays hybrid hospitality, where you combine the sort of traditional hotel services with the amenities and facilities of hospitality, entertainment, workspace and well-being all in one centralized hub. This application actually includes, with the permission of the owner of number 2 Church Street, it includes the opportunity to reconnect number 2 with 2A, 2B. There were historical access points below on the basement, the first floor, and the ground floor and the first floor, which would the reasons for looking to, and I think the thing slightly missing here was the part of the change of use will be also to get change of use from residential to commercial on number 2. The advantage to the project and for the, in the short term would obviously be that it would give us a dedicated hotel entrance and reception. But it would also give us the opportunity to connect the ground floor bar deli area directly with the live event space downstairs in the basement through an historical access point below, as well as in addition 2 more hotel rooms. I think it's worth mentioning also, I've had initial conversations with the owner of number 1 Church Street because there are very clear historical access points between 2 and 1. And I've sent him an email anyway, obviously making him aware that I was submitted a planning application which included the sort of sensitive reconnection of 2 with 2A, 2B, and I'd welcome the opportunity one day to be able to reconnect number 1 with 2 as well, because number 1 would create a sort of a landmark hotel entrance, as well as quite a large creative work gallery space downstairs, plus additional bedrooms. But it really is, in that situation there, it's a really rare opportunity to effectively reassemble an entire terrace for the benefit of creating one unified destination. The vision, if number 1 did come into play, that would ultimately end up being a 15-bedroom hotel with a number of other amenities as well. So it's a significant scale, but what we're here today to discuss is obviously the application, which is in number 2 to 7. So as you go along the street, I've zoned it in a sense of number 2 in itself would now become part of the hospitality, both in terms of the accessibility on the ground floor between the bar and the basement live venue, as well as a couple of hotel rooms. And then the ground floor of number 2A, which was historically an antique shop, which you may remember, that will effectively run throughout the day from early in the morning in line with the operation of the Wellbeing Studio. So that will be effectively operating as an all-day sort of deli, bakery, bottle of wine shop, and then in the evening it will then transition into what we call nowadays a vinyl hi-fi listening wine bar with small plates, which I've already got the premises license for the entire site. Number 3 would be workspace with meeting rooms, phone booths, co-working spaces, and also upstairs a podcast studio. And we'll also be looking to create the Communer Academy, which will be a school of wisdom for midlifers and young adults. And so there'll be a program activating in there in the after hours, after the co-working hours as well. So that's a sense of learning there and purpose. And number 7 will, on the ground floor to the left, that will be the reception, little boutique. The main space on the right-hand side is the movement studio. Hopefully, we're going to first of all test to see the sort of the demand on the changing facilities, but there is the potential to also include hot yoga in there, which seems to be a popular activity. So that, again, that will be running hourly classes throughout the day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. For all ages. There'll be a full access loo, shower on the ground floor. And then on the lower ground floor, which is effectively the terrace area at the back, that will feature Nordic Spa, which will be a 15-person sauna, 2 or 3 ice baths, and potentially some other changing facilities there. And then effectively what was the old prep kitchen will get converted into in the basement, will get converted into a unisex changing facility with 4 dry changing cubicles and 2 wet changing cubicles itself. But ideally what we're hoping is that the Nordic Spa, everything will be bookable. In terms of the whole operation, we're looking to create an app, a Communer app, which will allow people to book their classes in the morning, book a Nordic Spa, book a desk afterwards, book a ticket for a supper club, whatever it may be. But effectively, it will be looking to really create a community of people, and there will be the business model will be pay as you go. There'll be accessible to all, but there will be also a membership that will be a point of just offering more loyalty and reward. It's not a point about being exclusive, but as I said, everything will be available to everyone. And it's just really about trying to curate a space that for like-minded people to comfortably spend a day. I mean, someone, I think a very good example, she lives in Bruton, and she said, look, this is a really good example. I can come here in the morning, I can do my yoga, have a shower, have a nice bath, go next door, get some emails done in the workspace, meet a girlfriend for lunch, have a glass of wine, or let's stay for the event this evening. So if they don't need to go home, they can get a room for the night. So there's a full sort of circle. So it's a really morning to night, 7 days a week. It's quite a significant operation in terms of operating. If I wanted to make my life easier, I probably would have tenanted out the whole lot, but that doesn't really allow us to build the community that we want. By having a central sort of hub, effectively an operation, bringing it all together will allow us to manage it and ultimately maintain the properties and everything we do. I'm a sucker for old things, so that comes at a price, unfortunately. But where possible, we're looking to try and retain the historical elements and celebrate the historical elements, but at the same time also try and reinstate some of those historical access points as well and connection points in order for the better of the project as a whole.
Great, thank you very much. Questions, anyone? Mark?
I mean, that was very helpful. The question I would have had until you just said this today was, what effect will this have on neighbours with noise and things? I think number 2 has been used as an Airbnb until recently. Is that Cat House, number 2? Yeah. So, and you're going to end up owning that. So that's...
Well, the owner would like to sell.
Yeah.
And I've said to her, obviously, I'm only going to negotiate with it subject to getting approval for...
So the only neighbours you're going to disturb are going to be your own neighbours?
Correct. There's no other neighbours.
And the number 1 is the shop on the corner?
Correct.
Used to be Ellen Bray years ago?
Yep.
So yeah, that was my concern. So the only neighbours you've got really is the 3 Swans around the corner who back onto you with their little yard.
Correct. Yeah.
So no, that was my only concern, but you've done that by buying the whole street. So
One way of doing it. Anyone else got any comments?
Got a question, but it's probably due to my ignorance about how does it fit in with the Saxonvale plans?
Well, how does it fit in? Hopefully it will be a precursor. I mean, the architects behind this project are the same architects as doing the Mayday Saxonvale. I chose that particularly because I wanted to make sure that whatever the proposals they're doing is in line with the Mayday Saxonvale, all being well if that goes ahead. But it stands to benefit if Mayday or whoever, whoever goes in there and redevelops it, it stands to benefit the residents, whoever on there, as well as obviously, we can benefit from that as well. But, in the short, we certainly, for a number of years, the parking, we've got sufficient parking all the way down the street, which really helps. But we will actively be, this project is designed, I'd say 80% for locals, to be able to walk here. This is a really, if I always joke, if you played the donkey tail game, you say stick it in the middle of Frome, you would probably stick it in right here. I mean, it's almost the geographical centre. So we have this, that's the vision, is really for people to be able to walk here comfortably, prams and all. It's a safe, secure terrace area. There will be a vehicle access in there, which if we needed, either for emergency services or perhaps on a Friday night, might do food truck Fridays just to mix it up, just to bring, and that's the idea, is especially with the food and the retreats and all the wellness, is actually to have the opportunity to bring in, really interesting talent, whether that be culinary talent, whether that be, wellness talent, whether it be sort of leaders in thought process or whatever it may be. But we have, and again with the hospitality of and the provision of rooms, it allows us to really activate some really interesting opportunities midweek as well, whether that be focused on corporate retreats, and that will spill out into the rest of the town. And we will actively seek to work and collaborate with other businesses locally, whether it be working with local artists and makers or other businesses.
Okay.
Have you had any pre-app advice from Somerset? I mean, I think it's confidential, so you don't have to share it.
We had a walk around with the planning officer and the conservation officer last Tuesday,
Okay, right.
which was positive. I looked to try and get some sort of feedback at the end of it, and throughout the meeting, it was all seemed positive with everything. Nothing was untoward or highlighted or flagged as an issue. And then the conservation officer at the end of it said, listen, I don't in principle have an issue with any of it, other than can you just provide me with a few more bits of heritage statement on 7, which Jane Baldy previously said there was absolutely no historical relevance left in that building anyway. And number 3. So, actually, it was, as the architects' feedback was that they felt it was a very positive meeting. It was as good as it could have gone. Yeah.
Because I think we've been inside, haven't we? We went inside when you were doing one of the previous.
Right.
And it's a bit of a mess, isn't it?
What the?
Which one did we go in? The old chip shop. We had a
Oh, right. Yeah. So, I mean, everything's been taken back to the shell, but I mean, little things like, could you go back to the diagram with the drawing? No, with the sketch. So you can see here, this is something that was probably designed and built in the 80s, 90s. I mean, it seemed clearly not an attractive piece. So really, as part of this design, we're looking to really sort of harmonise the entire roof sort of system and then encapsulate the sort of a courtyard area. And this will be a staff quarters in here, and then there'll be a covered fire kitchen in here, which will operate as a prep kitchen midweek for the deli and the food offering in there. And this will be covered dining here. So gives us a lot of flexibility.
I really appreciate what you're doing to try and bring this derelict site back into use and with respect for the old buildings that are there. And unlike some people, I quite like the fact that the additional bit that you're putting around the outside of the courtyard is clearly relatively modern design. It's not trying to be a pastiche of what's there already. It's a new build, and it should look like a new build.
Yeah.
One concern I do have, given the tight corner up by St John's Well, is if that's where the entrance is, how are you going to stop people just parking my car a moment while I drop in with my suitcase?
Well, I mean, I suppose that could be a conversation if, as and when number 1 comes into play, because at the moment it isn't. I mean, you're talking about there in the vision of the hotel entrance being done at the end.
Well, I guess even if it's at number 2, you're still on a very narrow road just down there, aren't you?
Sure. Well, I mean, there is people do park up there on the edge, and there is enough room regularly for people to park temporarily, and then cars do come by. But we'll also be encouraging people. I mean, for me, I prefer to actually encourage as many people to come through this terrace, because that's the wow factor when you walk through there and you look around.
And where will your commercial deliveries be made to?
Through to that sort of first entrance there, coming down Saxonvale. There's 2 entrances, so that will...
I was annoyed last week. I was busy taking a photograph of a full waste bin at the bottom of St John's Steps, and I got beeped at by a delivery driver who wanted to park on that pavement where I was standing.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, that often happens, yeah.
Rolling out of the project.
Somewhat subject to planning approval and fundraising, but there is a number of things that we can do prior to actually planning, which means we're looking to activate the first phase of hospitality by May, which effectively would mean the terrace area, the deli bottle shop and the bar. The other part of the application includes, in the basement, there were some historical windows that have all been blocked up with breeze blocks. Obviously, our intention is to reinstate those windows so that can become an event space, usable midweek, daytime, for all sorts of occasions and needs. But I'm not going to start spending time and money on doing much to the basement until approval's been done. But I certainly don't want to miss out on another summer.
I have to say, I've got huge respect for what you've done with that outside area, because obviously the wood didn't work out for some
Right.
reason, and that must have been absolutely devastating. Now it looks really smart how you've created it so far. So
Right,
I
okay.
think, if anything, that's a really good sign of what the finish will look like.
Yeah, no, good, thank you.
And also, just thinking about, I know you're saying about the access and people dropping off, but I mean, it's so lucky to have that car park right on your doorstep. You know, it's like a dream come true,
Yeah,
isn't it, for parking.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, an evening I've spent many a nights living in this. I mean, I've lived it, breathed it. I'm probably like the 3 words of this side. I know every single centimetre. But you know, in the evening, that car park is pretty empty, and so there's more than enough parking there if people are hotel guests parking here. But no, you're right. I mean, it's a very fortunate position.
And if they can't afford to eat at yours, they can always pop next door to the kebab van.
Yes.
Jane, you hear? Sure.
I'm not going to say anything negative. Just to echo, I think what Andy was saying about, you know, tidying up the area, making it a destination. But also, I don't think anybody's mentioned, I think I read 45 full-time equivalent jobs.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is something that we need to support, really, because the town centre certainly needs more hotel rooms, and that with the addition of the jobs. Parking, which we've spoken about, yes, you've got the car park opposite. It's a town centre position, so you know, I don't think they're going to insist on any dedicated parking. And yeah, I think just to say, great application.
Great, thank you.
Right, if there's no other comments, I think we go straight to a vote. Someone?
Can I propose that we support this as strongly as we can?
Hold on, let me just film this. Say that again.
Can I propose that we support this application as strongly as we can?
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Great,
And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Right.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Well, I got
Okay,
I'm just going to get a drink of water. You carry on.
thanks for that. Agenda FTC ID number 826. This is Lees Hill Lodge, Lees Hill, and it's a TPO application for the felling of Corsican pine. We had a tree survey report stating that the tree is leaning heavily towards the house, which is the reason they want to fell it. It's been calculated to have a moderate level of risk and recommended to fell within the next 12 months.
Thank you. Comments, anyone? It is leading towards the house, isn't it?
Yeah, you can understand why they're worried about it. I mean, a 1 in 30,000 risk per annum doesn't sound very high, but it could be quite devastating if it does happen. if you think of it in terms of how you put it on a risk register.
Well, my issue with 1 in 30,000, it's a bit like the 1 in 100-year floods that we've had 3 of in the last 5 years. And, you know, with climate change happening, one of the things that everyone is saying is going to happen, we are going to get more severe weather, and that is more severe wind. And, you know, we know that the rain soddens the ground, loosens the roots. If that comes with wind as well, you can quite easily see those branches off to the left coming straight down at some point, can't you? Well, I can. If that was my house, I'd be pretty worried, I have to admit.
Is it all counted as one tree, or are there actually multiple trees there? So it's
They're keeping at least 6, I think. This is the one closest to the house that they're looking to fell. So, comments from the people that know what they're talking about?
Just to add that there's, that took its time to add that there's some further commentary there that Owen's put on the slide. They have, looks as though they have considered, you know, just reducing the tree, but they felt that wouldn't be the best approach. And in light of those considerations, they think that the remaining trees are less at risk to the house, and removing that tree will reduce the competition for the others in the vicinity. So I think, you know, often we say, well, you know, why don't you just reduce the height of the tree? So they've answered that question.
generally pine trees don't take nicely to crown reduction, do they?
I was thinking, they don't, you know, conifers and pines and all that family of tree, you can't really prune them, can you? They don't regenerate like a normal tree would, do they? No. I reluctantly, you know, it is a TPO, it is a nice tree, but I think I agree with them. So, no objection. So.
And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, next, number 828. This is 1 Lewis Crescent. It's a single-storey front and side extension. As you can see on the photograph there, it's the property on the right-hand side of the image with the garage sticking out to the left. This is the existing layout, and this is the proposal to incorporate a garage, like storage area, and a porch. So kind of extension that wraps around the front of it, incorporating the porch. Existing and proposed elevations there. So you can see the left-hand side image is probably the most interesting one, which shows the difference between the existing at the top and the proposed at the bottom.
Cool. Any comments?
There seems to be lots of space there, and it's a good use of the space.
Yeah, as you say, good use of space if they don't need the garage anymore. Put an extension there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still going to be a garage there, I think, Steve. It's just at the side. Yeah.
It's only single story, so it's not going to impact, is it? The people.
As long as they do the rainwater capture thing to make sure they mitigate the fact that they're losing some ground. Well, they're going to be building over what's currently grassed, aren't they?
Yeah. I've no objection.
It's tarmacked anyway, so it's not significant.
Any other comments? No objection?
No objection.
No objection, right. Yeah, go.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
Item number 831, 12A Foster Road. This is for 2 new 3-bedroom semi-detached dwellings to replace a 3-bedroom bungalow and single garage. You can see the existing street view there, and to the left you can see the plan of the property as it is. And here we have the proposal, which is 2 semi-detached, three-story dwellings. You can see parking provided at the front there, 2 spaces per dwelling. We've had 2 neighbour objections on the grounds of the size, proximity, impact on light, overlooking character, scale and density of the area. Civic Society also object as overdevelopment, overbearing and on the grounds of parking. You can see from the plan on the left-hand side there, the difference in the distance between, particularly the neighbouring property on the left, as it is currently and as is proposed. And you can see in the photograph here, the proposed properties would be slightly taller than those on the right-hand side. And obviously the properties to the left-hand side are single-storey bungalows. The proposed houses will be positioned at in the same line as the existing properties.
Thanks, sorry. We went to see this morning, didn't we, Lindsay? I don't know if you want to say anything before I jump in.
Yeah, I guess I was interested on the distance now on the left-hand side of the left-hand house to the bungalow, what difference that will be. And thinking that should I just do one thing at a time?
No, don't.
Or also, so to the right of this house is a 2-story house. Sorry, to the right of this bungalow is a 2-story house.
Yeah,
But it's going to be higher than that.
slightly higher.
So, and as we know, there is accommodation or houses behind that, isn't there?
It seems to be, yeah. We couldn't get around there, but it does seem to be, yeah.
So I guess it is a factor of overlooking into their garden.
Yeah. Yeah, just to add to that, as I say, we went there this morning. It is going to be tight on that plot. I mean, Zoe's put those lines on. So that left-hand wall of a 3 or 2.5, 3-story house, call it what you want, is going to be very overbearing for that bungalow. Because at the moment they've got a bungalow next to them, and suddenly they're going to have a massive Great Wall. I personally, looking at this after we went there, is they seem to be trying to get 2 3-bedroom houses in. And I'm wondering if it would work better if they tried to get a couple of smaller, like 2-bedroom houses in, and just brought the whole scale of the thing down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeping with that particular.
I mean, we're consistently saying that research says Frome needs more smaller properties, and this is a site where you're absolutely shoehorning in 2 3-bedroom homes, as well as the associated parking. Whereas if you were to, as you say, make them 2 beds, they'd fulfil a need in our housing market and they'd fit better in the environment.
Yeah.
Also on that, I struggle to see how 2 cars could be on each drive.
Well, it's as the Civic Society said, it's going to look pretty unpleasant because the whole of that front, the whole of the front of both houses is going to be taken up with car, effectively. And if you have a 3-bedroom house, you know, there's a lot more chance of having 2 cars than a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah, and ultimately as well, if there isn't, yes, they might have 2 spaces on their drive, but for whatever reason, they might one night decide just to park on the road.
It normally happens, doesn't it?
And that is a very tight parking area around there.
We're also losing quite a lot of street parking area just by including the drop curbs. There's quite a lot of existing street parking on that road.
Jane.
Thank you, Steve. Owen, would you mind just going back to the street view image? Thank you. So the bungalow on the left-hand side, who we assume are one of the people that have submitted an objection, you can just about see that there is a window that would be, which is on the side elevation of where there's going to be a two-storey building. We believe that is a bedroom.
Right, okay.
But from the comments that we've read in the objection, and it looks as though the, first of all, we thought it may have been a bathroom or a toilet or with a glazed window anyway, but you can clearly work out that that's on the other side of the building. So I do think with the gap narrowing down to, what was it, Owen? What was it going down to? Was it 2?
I didn't actually measure it, but if you look at it as it is currently, it's the width of a garage. So it's looking, 2.5 meters plus a meter on the other side of the property, so 3.5 meters, and it's coming down to a couple of meters.
Yeah, so I do think that will have a significant impact on natural light into that room. It's not what they call a habitable room, but nonetheless, it's still a bedroom, and I do agree. I think it'll just be an overdevelopment. It'll be really overbearing on the adjoining bungalow, and I think the suggestion of two beds is a good idea. Particularly with the parking, because I noticed that people actually have to park on the pavement either side just to keep it the flow of traffic going. So I think that would add additional problems.
Thanks, Jane. So I think we...
Object.
Totally, yeah. I think we object for the reasons that we said, overbearing.
So on the grounds that it will be overlooking the gardens of the adjoining, rear gardens of the adjoining property, it's an overdevelopment of the site, it'll be overbearing, it will have an impact on parking in the area, but we would prefer to see two smaller two-bed properties.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. Morning.
And that's unanimous, thank you.
Thank you, Owen.
Okay, thanks. Number 832. This is number 41 The Butts, single-storey rear extension and rear attic dormer. You can see on there the existing ground floor plan on the left, the courtyard to the rear, which is going to be kind of filled in by an extension, and extension of the kitchen, dining and utility, more space added there on the ground floor at the rear of the property. And on the second floor, the dormer that will be installed there will give light to a new bathroom at the rear there. You see the rear elevation and side elevation on this image here. Oh no, that's existing. So existing rear and side elevation and proposed. And there's a 3D rendering of it there.
Great. And thanks for your notes on this. I think the only item of some discussion is the dormer window, isn't it? Would that be right? I think everything else doesn't look a problem. Just worrying about the dormer window, whether there is an overlooking issue. If you go back to the proposed, that one.
Yeah, it's the small window at the top on the right-hand side there. You can just about see it there. So there's a similar courtyard on the property to the right-hand side as you're looking at it from the rear.
That's existing, isn't it? So there's already overlooking from that window on the left, isn't there? Yeah. So you're not actually going to add a lot more overlooking, are you? No. All right, okay, fine, no problem. I haven't got a problem with it then in that case. No. Jake, are we right on that? Yeah.
No objection.
Yeah. No objection.
And that's unanimous, thank you.
Okay, good. Number 833, this is number 30 Long Ground. demolition of a garage and utility room that you can see to the left-hand side of the property, and erection of a side extension. It is a two-storey extension, effectively with a room in the roof, so it's quite a substantial increase in height there on the left, I suppose you would say. Yeah, and you can see the proposed front elevation and rear elevation on those drawings there.
Yeah, no, did they? Yeah. There you go. Again, this is another one that Lindsay and I went to have a look at this morning. The property is raised in relation to the bungalow to the left-hand side of it. There's a significant level change, probably about 4 foot along that wall along the left. It already crowds the bungalow significantly. It's a tight little spot around there, isn't it? That whole on ground, and yes, it is higher, but it's difficult to really see that it's going to have a massive impact because it's already pretty tight around there. That was the impression I got. And if the people in the bungalow to the left haven't objected, then yeah, I don't really have much objection either, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And we looked at the property from the back of the property as well. And even if there was an additional window, I don't think it'd be overlooking any more than the additional the windows from the existing part of the main house. It sort of overlooks into like a garage area.
Yeah, there's a big car park type thing, isn't it? Garages and car parks.
Yeah.
It's a very strange one. Let's see, Helen. Hello, Helen. Can you hear us? We probably need to unblock you, don't we?
Hi. Only to, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Yeah, only to say that the bungalows there it is social housing for old people. They do tend to, have their last days there, and maybe some of them are not even very mobile. So they're not going to be objecting, I doubt very much they'll be objecting. And they may only be there for a few years, and then there'll be another older person coming in. So it's just something to bear in mind, not to base your view on the fact that the neighbour hasn't objected. I'm trying to remember the alignment of land of the land here, and I think the garden faces southwest, I think. So
yeah, we had a look at that this morning, and the sun, how the sun moved around, and it doesn't look as if it's going to have any impact on the amount of certainly sunlight coming through to the rear of those properties.
I think that picture in front of us that says proposed rear elevation, that it's kind of got some hatching on there, and that's probably about as bad as it gets. I hope that is as bad as it gets, just to have that shadowing. I don't know if that's supposed to represent shadowing.
I think that would be the morning sun as well, because that would be the morning sun. The bungalow does have a very small courtyard, which people might want to sit out in. I know that area quite well, Helen, and a lot of elderly people live there, and they sit out in their gardens. So it was really positive to see that the evening sun wouldn't be affected by the extension if they were sitting out in their little area.
Yeah, who's speaking at the moment? Just by the way, because I can't see you. You're very distant.
Councillor Lindsay.
It's me, Lindsay.
Oh, hello, hi.
Hi.
Hello. Didn't recognise the voice. Yeah, thank you.
I've got a horrible cold.
Okay, good. I don't have any objection to it really either. I just wanted to just sort of raise that as an
Thanks for
issue.
that, Helen.
Thanks.
Yeah, Jane, it doesn't work, does it?
Yes, it's working now. Yeah. yeah, it's been interesting listening to everybody's comments and reading the Civic Society's comments, who agree that it won't overshadow the neighbouring property to the north, but they feel that it'll be overbearing. There's already the garage there, and I think given the different levels, yes, obviously there will be, you know, an addition there. I'm not sure that I feel that it will be overbearing. Certainly not overbearing in the same respect as the previous one that we looked at. And if they, you know, if they're providing an additional bedroom, yes, that might mean they need an extra car parking space. But I think overall, this is not a drastic extension. And yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Owen, can you just close that box that's on the display so that we can see the image better? Thank you.
It's not on my screen, so I didn't notice.
Thanks. Yeah, it looks like just making more effective use of the ground space that they're already covering.
Yeah. I think you're right. Any other comments from anyone? I mean, I'm getting the vibe that we're not really objecting to it.
Yeah, no objection from me.
There's garage space there, but it's obviously not going to be used as a garage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's still garage on the ground floor.
Right.
The utility and shower below. Yeah, the main change in that respect is that is an extra bedroom in the upstairs area.
Okay.
So I think Andy proposed no objection,
Yep.
That's fine.
and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. Number 836. This is number 3A Orchard Street. Conversion of a garage to an annex, relocation of office utility, installation of UPVC windows, refurbishment of some existing timber windows, roof lights, and curb extension and relocation of boundary wall to allow parking, and addition of solar panels and air source heat pump. This is quite a narrow road, Orchard Street. You can't really see that much from this image, but it's a single track road. And the boundary wall there with the gate is the access to the property. And you can just see behind the gate, beyond that tree there, that is the kind of extension to that property that they're looking to make alterations to. Is the layouts, and you can see on the left-hand side existing, on the right-hand side is the annex. I think the intention is to provide additional accommodation for visitors, family visitors, and yeah, you can see addition of conservation roof lights, the roof there. Can you go back one minute? This is the existing house, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And that's where it's connected. That's the garage. Yeah, so it's a courtyard. There's no change to the footprint. No. They're not changing those gates at the front, are they? Yeah. They're setting that wall back to create parking spaces. So that entrance will be removed. Parking spaces there on the street side of the gate. And then there'll be a gate to go into the courtyard. Yeah. Very much like I've got just over the road. Conservation area? Yeah. Yeah, conservation area. So it's going to... You can see the street views here as well. existing on the left, with a gated entrance to the right-hand side, as you see there, and proposed on the right, the image on the right with the pedestrian.
Go back to the photograph.
Oh, yeah.
Of the place. Yeah. That's what it looks like at the moment.
That's it now, and so
Are
that.
you knocking that wall down then?
I'm moving it, broadening it.
I can't see how they would do it without knocking that down.
No, no.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Is that, Mark, this is round by where you are, isn't
It's 3 doors down from my house.
it? Is that really, it looks to me as if it's really going to affect the actual visual of the...
Oh yeah, it will, but I think it'll improve it. That's a really scabby wall there at the moment. There's no architectural merit to it.
Right.
You see the house on the left. Well, it's a very strange house because that was one big house at one time called Flora Villa. And the front door is called still got Floraville over it, but it's been divided into two, well, in fact, 2/3 almost. The one on the right, those windows you can see there belong to the applicant, and that goes way back and then round into the proposed annex. The one on the left stands alone as a house of itself. That's got parking over the road, very, very similar layout to the one proposed, and in fact, very similar to the one I've got just up the road, where I've excavated garden and put some parking spaces in, because as everyone's highlighted, parking is very difficult around there. This house was practically derelict. Somebody lived there who went off to a home, and it had been completely neglected and hoarded for years and years and years. Young family have moved in. She's having a baby next week. What they're doing seems to me to be the right thing. I mean, I don't know them well. I do talk to them, but I'm not been lobbied by them or anything, so I can't. Don't need to declare an interest as far as I can see. I think what they're trying. So there you go. The picture on the left is how it looks at the moment. That's just a garage, and they're going to make that into the annex, and it's all going to be. It's all connected. It's not one of these things that people worry about. Completely stands alone and could be sold off.
Yeah.
And I see in the application that the planning consultant says he's quite happy for some condition to be made that it would be not to be able to sold off or not to be used for other purposes. The family are, well, certainly the wife is Portuguese, I think, and has family who come over and help her out with the baby. And so they need some accommodation for that. I'm happy with the parking. I'm happy with the short-term lets. I need to know a little bit more about the UPVC windows, because not many of us have, I don't think any of us have got those in the street. So I'd need to see what those look like, and I think that might be something that the conservation officer would advise on, have to look at or whatever, but I can see why they're doing it. They've taken the gas out, the gas has been disconnected, and they've put the air source heat pump in, and they're doing the solar panels. So they're doing the right thing that way. But I would support it as long as we know what the window's going to be like.
Okay, great.
But is that window actually going to be visible from the street if it's behind this new wall that they're putting in? Or are they talking about replacing all the windows in the property?
I don't think the windows fronting onto the street are going to be replaced. Those are still the original, or they are original looking sash windows. I don't think there's, I think in the detail of the application now, and it says which ones, and I think it's probably the ones that overlook the courtyard, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The design statement says replace existing timber sliding sash casement windows and doors on southwest elevation, and existing extension with grey UPVC sliding sash and casement windows and doors.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, so all those would be behind the new doors, and so not that obvious from the street.
Yeah.
It is still the conservation area, isn't
It is, and so that has to be considered.
I think so we can get the conservation officer to check stroke comment.
Yeah, have they had a pre-app? Not sure. There was a horrible pseudo wood extension attached to that wall that you can see on the right there. And when they bought the place, it was held on with cargo straps. And as soon as they released those, it just fell into the courtyard. So they've got a hell of a job here, and I think they're doing quite a good thing, really.
All right, well, thanks for that, Mark. That's some really good local knowledge. Andy, you, as if you're going to...
Well, I'm always a bit conflicted because I support the idea of people improving the insulation in their property by putting in UPVC, but I'd be guided by the conservation officer on how impactful that might be to the street view. Other than that, I'm quite supportive of this.
Great, thank you. Jane, do you?
Thank you. Yes, sorry, Helen, I've just seen your question. Yes, the Civic Society do send their comments directly to us. And well, they send them to us and Somerset at the same time, but it takes sometimes a few days for them to appear on the portal. On this one, the Civic Society, which one is it? That one there. They have written quite a lot. They're concerned about the loss and insufficient parking. And that and the windows. So, I mean, I must admit, I do agree about the windows because there are a lot of properties down there that have actually replaced windows and have gone to the trouble of, replacing them with timber. And it's, I do think this UPVC here would make an impact. But I think what I'm hearing is that in general, there's no objection to the annex and the curb extension, so the alterations at the front, but there is some concern about the use of UPVC. So perhaps something along the lines of that, no objection in principle to the annex, the curb extension. There'd need to be a condition tying the annex to the main house, but do have concerns about the use of UPVC in this location, in the conservation area.
You're right, the parking is not removing, there's room for 3 cars there at the moment, but they're behind those horrible gates that you can see in the photograph. There's room for 3 cars there. All it does is bring it out to the road and then make a nice gate to shield it from the house. If you did street view, moved up and down, you'd see the house opposite has exactly the same sort of parking. In fact, the other half of Flora Villa has that parking. And if you move 2 doors up to the right and move into it, you'll see that my house has that as well. So it's not unknown.
Okay, thanks. I understand Civil Society's comments about parking. But the parking regs, in my opinion, are so outdated, especially in an area like this. If you're buying a house in a road like this, a single track road, you have enough cars to be able to park in your house, and if you don't get any more cars, do you? Sort of my view. So I have no objection really, apart from what Jane said about the UPVC windows.
And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. Where are we? This is number 841. 36 Sips Close. And this is a single-storey rear extension and a carport with elevated decking. It's a slightly unusual one, this. You can see on the cross-section here, this this property on the left-hand side of the section there, that's the neighbouring property to the rear of the applicant's property, which is on the right, and the access to their rear garden stroke parking area is via a carport underneath that property to the rear. And obviously at the moment they park their car there, and their proposal is, because the garden is split level, the proposal is to construct a timber decking that raises a kind of raised decking area above what will be a carport. So you can see on this image here that through that garage door is the carport through to rear garden, basically. So the proposal is to build this decking up here, and this will provide a seating area. And obviously there's a small rear extension to the rear of the kitchen dining room there too. You can see this SimCity representation of it there, which gives you a good idea of what they're planning basically. So the higher part of the split level was here, the lower part was here, but they're building a decking above it. This is the elevation of the extension to the rear, which is fairly standard. And here it is on plan, existing at the top there in blue, and proposed at the bottom there, circled in red. So yeah, that's that.
Go back to that garage door a bit.
That.
It's rather narrow for a garage door.
Don't know, yeah.
It must be, yeah. So they're not losing any parking space?
No, I mean, arguably they're gaining a bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not losing any car. All right, I haven't got a problem. No objection? No objection? Jane, have we missed anything?
No, you haven't missed anything. I was just going to say to Helen, sorry, Steve forgot to turn his microphone on. And I think you've
It was the person before Steve who was speaking before Steve. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, my main concern was just that we're not losing any car parking space on this one, because I know that area is very tight on car park space as well.
Okay, thank you.
Had 2 supportive comments from neighbours and no objections.
Great, thank you. Excellent, thank you very much.
Can I just confirm, you all voted on that, didn't you? Yeah, and it was unanimous. Yeah, okay, thank you.
And that is it for this evening's meeting.
Great, thank you very much, Owen. And can we just vote on all the others that we send notes as per Owen's comments? Yes.
And that's unanimous as well, thank you.
Great. Excellent. Next planning meeting is on the 8th of January 2016. 2026. I've just lost a decade. Wish I had. Great, thanks so much. Good night, everybody.